Hey guys, Disler Magic here, and it's time to cover the topic that I know you don't want to talk about, but, well, we have to. There are two options for Amonkhet. Either it is good, playable, powerful, and it'll at least be a moderate success. Maybe an extreme success might, sell like Aether Revolt, where they took the power and just went to the moon with it. It doesn't look like it so far. Or they're resetting the power level because all along they knew that Aether Revolt was just insane, just pushed power level to brave new bounds, and by brave I mean stupid, and now they have to reset it. Now, from what I've heard from people who've been playing way longer than I have, whenever a hyper powerful block came out and the decks were just unbearable every time they pushed the power level just to sell, packs basically, and honestly, so that the game doesn't get dull, so that it's not always like a turn 8 kind of thing. Sometimes you want a turn 5 danger deck, in there just to mix it up. Sometimes you want to draw it out and go control heavy and have it be more like a chess match over time. I get it, vary the game. But everybody told me that whenever a powerful block came out, the next block after it was crap. They would basically reset the power level. Now, what they try to do, and this is proven, is make the next set specifically beat the set before it. It's not necessarily more powerful, it just has a natural advantage over it. Like, for example, if one is flood heavy, cheap creature heavy, and token heavy, the next set will have a whole bunch of mass removal. If one set is combo heavy, then the next set will have, jam this based on name, remove this from their library, their hand, and their graveyard based on name. Here's a really, really, really good 2-cost counterspell. Here's Fatal Push to screw up all your combos. The thing is, though, let's analyze that first. What the hell would you possibly do to stop Amonkhet and Kaladesh? First of all, stopping it isn't even like the problem because there's actually, 6 blocks that are legal right now. Amonkhet will be the 7th one. So you'd have to stop every set before it because if you just totally stomp on the Kaladesh block, people will just start playing, vampires, or they'll start playing like white-black allies, or, they'll revert to one of the other hyper-powerful decks. And that's cool because honestly, the Kaladesh block was overpowered as hell even compared to those, so at least taking it down to that power level would be nice. But in general, it's really, really, really hard to have the 7th set in a standard cycle actually really beat anything before it. So if they were ever to reset the power level, this would be the time to do it. Here is the problem that I see though. Amonkhet was hyper powerful, like too powerful, like dangerous powerful. They knew it. Everything was universal. Everything worked with everything. Everything important was colorless. I mean, it was a mistake. The whole design of the set was a mistake power-wise, but they pushed it to 11 with that set, and they knew it. They clearly knew it. It was not an accident except for the Felidar Guardian combo, but everything else, not necessarily an accident. I mean, Fatal Push was not an accident. That is just good by itself. And there's a lot of cards that you would just say, that's good by itself. I'd say even Gisela, but she wasn't, obviously in that set. But that's an example of a card that they just know is good. It's just standalone by itself good. So there's a ton of that in Kaladesh. Like, Torrential Gearhulk, that is just a damn good card. You get a spell back for free that's just good. All the, you cast this and then you can cast another spell for free. That's insanely good. Pacification Array, that card is insane and it's colorless. You can put it in anything. So the power level is not an accident, and I keep saying that because it's important to consider that. They're probably done designing the set that comes out after Hour of Devastation by now. They might even be done-ish designing the one after that. We'll just call it Conquest of Power, even though it's probably not actually called that. Plus, the acronym would be COP, and I would turn that into a meme in about 1 second. COPS is filmed on location with the men and women of magic enforcement. So anyway, they knew the power level was going to be high. It backfired. It went a little higher than they thought because of Felidar and honestly Heart of Kiran. Little slip up there. Just vehicles in general turned out to be a little bit too powerful. A little bit kind of misused. The pilots were too good. Scrap Heap's too good. And then you got like Fatal Push and Control, and 3 colors just too good in general. And then the color fixing. They knew the color fixing would be damn good. A like complete idiot could figure that out. So that means that when they were designing this, they designed the next one with this in mind before it was released. So when they designed Amonkhet, they had their preconceived notions with no public release yet of Kaladesh. So what they thought would be good in Aether Revolt and Kaladesh, that's what they went with in trying to limit its power. But then you go back to, well, there's just a bunch of standalone cards. I mean, it's not like Amonkhet has mountains of artifact destruction, which is, because artifact heavy Kaladesh, duh. That's theoretically the most blanket thing you could do. That, and they probably thought servos were going to be hot, so mass kill. And I haven't really seen that yet. It's more targeted -1/-1. So combat superiority is what they're looking for. So I'm shrinking your creatures but leaving them on the field. But because that's not very powerful, I'm doing it more often. And so now I'm just going to beat you in combat by swinging with bigger creatures over and over and over. I think that's what they were doing, but I don't know. That kills what? Like Gear Hulks? It doesn't do a damn thing to servos. Maybe they thought Flaying Tendrils and that other -1 sweeper was good enough. I don't know. So it's really hard to say with what we see so far, but I will say one comment about what we see so far. It looks weak as hell. Just in general, it looks pathetic. I mean, some of them are like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's neat. That looks, I might want to play that. But nothing is like, whoa. Now, if you're wondering, okay, maybe, we've seen, a dozen cards. Maybe we're just yet to see the WoW cards. Oh, no. In the history of me covering, spoilers and stuff, I have seen the WoW cards first, okay? In the first 10 to 20, they throw up the WoW cards. Not all of them, but some of them. They never leak the snooze cards like that stupid Crocodile. That Crocodile's crap. A 5/4 that puts a -1/-1 counter on one of your own creatures? The card's garbage. It's like borderline unplayable. It's so detrimental and stupid. If you summon it solo, great. If you don't care about your other creature dying, great. If you got a death trigger, great. So it's not completely unplayable, but it's bad. I mean, it's definitely bad. Even the red guard card looks like crap, and that's a mythic. So they usually lead with a really hyper powerful, couple cards, usually like 3, and then they just kind of go from there. They throw in filler and then a good card, then filler, then a good card, and kind of go back and forth. So far, it looks like just utter garbage. If they led with the best they could come up with, and that's the best, the set's going to be just a catastrophe. Now, here's the thing. That sounds bad. That sounds negative, but it would be both a good thing and a bad thing in either case, which that by itself is a bad thing because that means you can't win. Okay, let's say it's super weak. The whole set it's neat. It's got some cool mechanics. It looks fun to play. It's fun to draft because it always is. But it's not terribly competitive, and you only want a couple little cards out of it. You're not going to just jump on Embalm and build an Embalm deck because it can't compete with even allies, let alone, the top 2 decks right now. Okay, good. So they reset the power level. Eventually, some stuff is going to cycle out, and they're going to reset the power level much, much, much lower so we can actually play real Magic and have creativity and build real decks, instead of just getting nuked to oblivion on turn 4, and you, because of that, can't play anything. You have to run 8+ cards that completely and utterly stop those decks that win on turn 4 or 5. Otherwise, you're going to lose. So that takes easily 75 to 95% of the deck ideas that are really, really good otherwise, that are like really good, solid turn 6-7 decks, and just says, no, you can't play with them. You will not win a damn game with them. Yeah, the deck looks fun. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's a great idea. It's solid. The math is good. It's a very good high-powered tier 2 deck, but you will win precisely 0 matches with it because the top 2 or 3 decks are just too damn powerful. So if we reset to, okay, slower, calmer, lower power, no completely outstanding cards, just nice ones. Well, now you can build whatever the hell you want, and you can play with whatever the hell you want, and you might actually stand a chance of winning. I mean, doesn't that sound fun? That's what I've been pushing ever since I created my channel. I like low-powered Magic. I mean, I like, really like, my decks to be overpowered if I can get them to be, but that's just in my opinion, and honestly, it's not like oppressive. It's not like, oh, nothing can beat this. There is no way to beat this. Like, my whole deck is hexproof and indestructible. Good luck. That level of crazy. So if they did reset the power level, great. Except I'm not going to make any damn money, and neither is Wizards, on the sets that are the front runners of resetting the power level. Also, another problem with that is Kaladesh, that block, and the Amonkhet block, I do believe will cycle out at the same time, and they'll always be legal at the same time. So if Kaladesh outshines it, it always will. Kaladesh will not fall off and leave Amonkhet legal. I'm not 100% about that because, like I said, they changed the schedule like 50 frickin' times by changing between 6 months and 1 year, but I do believe that's how it would work. Now, the other thing that seems illogical about this, that maybe is counter evidence that maybe Wizards is not actually resetting the power level lower with Amonkhet. It actually will be really hyper powerful, and they just haven't shown us any really extreme cards yet. Why would they make a set hyper powerful for the sole purpose, obviously, of making money? I mean, I know I said, okay, it adds variety. Sometimes standard's fast, sometimes it's slow, and people like variety. So 99% it's to sell packs, because I think we all know that sets are designed to sell packs. And if you get another Journey into Nyx where it sells nothing and they have to cut off the print run early because it's that freaking bad, words cannot describe how much money they lose, like potential money that they could have made. It's a lot. I mean, it would be on the like hundreds of millions scale. Keep in mind, they sold allegedly 116 million boosters in 2016, I want to say it was. That's 3.6 million booster boxes, give or take. Oh, so actually maybe 100 million wouldn't be quite right. Wait, let me do the math. Okay, so every set they release, give or take, should make them roughly 4 to 5 million, or 40 to 50 million dollars. So if a set does poorly, they could lose tens of millions of income, but that's like a lot. I don't think I need to even say that. So would they oversell a set by like 20-30% by making it just mental, just have to have it, absolutely have to buy it, and then have the next set sell practically nothing? Like, we're talking half. Just take your 50 million a set and cut it straight in half and lose 25 million. Well, no. What you should try to do is sell every set, never fully just drop off a cliff and reset the power level. That's just stupid. So do I think they would do that on purpose? No, not really. I mean, for game balancing and anti-power creep, yeah, but for money, no. So if they could avoid it, no, because number one thing on their radar is money. But there's one more consideration. So I've provided evidence on both sides. Maybe they are going to just super low power it. Maybe they're going to, pump it up and it's better than it looks. Obviously, the two decks were not intended. At least one wasn't. The Saheeli Rai thing, not intended. Just red, white, blue control draw loop. I guess that was intended. Dynavolt Energy, that was kind of intended. That doesn't really feel like an accident. Allowing people to play 3-color, which enabled the other top deck, which is the whole Heart of Kiran, Mardu vehicles, whatever, which Mardu vehicle, I believe there's only one vehicle in it. That deck just runs the best of, and then insert name here. Best creature, best kill, best removal, best this, best that, just best everything. And honestly, Snakes got out of control too, and Walking Ballista was overpowered, so, did they accidentally make the top decks right now too powerful? Were they not considering them in playtesting? Did it never come up? I think the answer might be yes. It absolutely is yes for the cat combo. For the other ones, I'm not sure, because those are so good that if somebody would have come up with them and tested it, they would have noticed that nothing else can beat it, because it's really only 2 decks right now. They say it's 3, but it's 2, and honestly the third one is pretty damn impressive too. So if they intended Amonkhet to be on par with Kaladesh, and then oops, the Kaladesh deck or block resulted in way too high of power, now you got a problem. And the other evidence for that is they banned 3 cards from Standard while Kaladesh was legal, remember? I mean, like Emrakul and Reflector weren't exactly from Kaladesh, but you get my drift. The decks just turned out too damn powerful. So that was unintended. I mean, maybe they might have looked forward to Amonkhet and said, oh crap, this kind of stomps that. We're not going to sell a damn pack. We need to do something about this. And then they brought out the first Standard ban in 5 years. But then they failed to ban anything last ban cycle because maybe they know something about Kaladesh that we don't. It's hyper powerful and it just doesn't look like it so far. So I'd be very interested to see what actually happens. Should be very, very, very interesting. In the meantime, because I can get Standard for 8 more waves after the initial one, because that's just how they do things, I think I'm going to cut my order. Even more. I'm cutting it to 1,500. I don't want to touch this set. I cannot risk losing money to help Wizards make money. That is unacceptable. I am not going to pre-order completely blind their crap garbage sets and then lose my butt on it like Journey into Nyx. Honestly, even Kaladesh that had 2 money cards. That's it. Or was it 1? I think it was just 1 and then the rest were lands. Oh, Wizards, you designed a horrible, horrible garbage set. That's too bad. Let me help you out by losing $1,000 personally in my business for you. And then you make the same. No, I don't think so. I think what I'm going to do is call up my vendor now that I've seen, a dozen cards and they all look like garbage, and cut my order. Yeah, the distributor's not happy, but guess what? I'm not cutting it from 1,000 to 500 cases. I'm cutting 3 cases. They can find somebody to buy 3 more cases. If everybody does it, they might start getting pissed, but I have a feeling that right now, from all the evidence I've heard, the distributors are pissed at Wizards regardless. Hate to say it, but it's true. It is what it is. There's one little thing I gotta tack on, the one little beam of hope. White Embalm. It looks like Embalm and the whole I have to kill everything twice stops a lot of the high tier decks. I mean, if red, white, blue draw control with counterspell heavy and some white and red removal now has to kill every creature twice, oh boy, now we've got something. Plus, it looks like Exert might be really fast, and they also resurrected Menace. So that would be speed, 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 which is, toxic and overpowered in the format, obviously, but it would help beat, long-term control decks that build up, especially 3-color ones. Plus, I'm still waiting on the mother of all Hail Mary long shots, which is, you guys know this, I've said it before, something that not only pushes monocolored, but destroys and penalizes multicolored. They might have one of the major mechanics be like, I don't know, some glorified hexproof protection clone, where basically you say this creature takes half damage rounded down and can't be the target of spells or abilities that are multicolored. That wouldn't stop red, white, blue right now because they don't use any mixed spells at all. But something like that just, or something that starts screwing with multicolored lands. That's what we really need right now. Like, if you tap this creature instead of swinging with it, your opponent can't untap any of their multicolored lands or non-basics or something like that. It would be so odd to phrase. I think neither of those are remotely realistic, but if they did roll out something like that, it would shut down everything before it and just say, hey, guess what, everybody? You're playing monocolored now. Feel free to use cards from the past, like Gisela, because she's insane in white, and, Selfless Spirit and all those, like, Always Watching and all those huge bombs. But your past decks, the top net decks right now, you're done with those. Those are shut down, just single-handedly across the board shut down. I would be very happy with that. I know a lot of people wouldn't because that's almost equivalent to getting your deck banned because your deck is unplayable now. You're going to lose a lot of money because value is going to drop down the toilet. You're going to have to rebuild the deck, but, it is what it is. I'd be pretty happy if they did that. So what do you think of that? Because that's interesting. If they did amp up the power on Amonkhet instead of print it really wimpy to reset the overall power level standard, it would sell some packs, which would be nice. Your packs would actually be valuable if you've got, you buy a box every time it comes out. It'd be nice if it was worth 140, not 70. But it would probably wipe out your deck no matter what, because everybody's playing multi right now, at least 2-color. So how would you feel about that if they started like shutting down and penalizing colors? I mean, the most realistic example that I wanted to give is Reverse Converge. It's like Reverse Converge Devotion, I guess you could call it, like Enemy Devotion. For every color of permanent that your opponent has in play or has in the graveyard or something like that, then you get one more. I mean, you guys know how Converge worked before. It's like for every color spent on the spell, it gets one better of whatever. It could be for every permanent on the field that's a different color, you get one better of this, that, or the other thing. That would be the most effective, fair, and dominating way to shut down multicolor. And it would actually probably help Modern because people, instead of just automatically running 3-color like a lot of Modern decks do, you might have to reconsider that because now you might get shut down because of it. And you'd see the resurgence of really powerful second-tier decks like Black Devotion. I mean, that deck's pretty hardcore. I know people hate change and stuff, but something needs to be done. Standard is unplayable right now. That's just a fact. It's mostly because 2 decks are unplayable. Other than that, you can build all kinds of wild stuff, and it's pretty unique and out there, but still really good. It's just, you can't really play it at FNM because you won't win. So if it wasn't for those 2 decks, actually Standard would be designed exceptionally well right now. So you could say R&D got really close, but it does seem like they pushed the power on purpose with cards like Walking Ballista and stuff like that. Well, that and Winding Constrictor, obviously. They know damn well that Hardened Scales was like the king of all cards. So let me know your feelings on this. What is your prediction for Amonkhet? Do you think that it will be really powerful or really absolutely pathetic just to pathetic up Standard a little bit? I think right now more evidence points to it being hyper powerful, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did try to even intercycle double block set, drop the power. Would you be happy if you get to ignore Amonkhet, buy none of the cards, and keep playing your existing deck, maybe swap out one card? Or do you really like building new decks when new sets come out? Because I know people are very polarized on that one. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section, and I will see you guys next video.